Welcome to the January 19th, 2023, 6:15-ish open session meeting of the Ayer Affordable Housing Trust. So that you all know, Pat is on the phone this evening. That's the phone on the screen.
All right.
So due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 22, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID 818-0509-7403 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Alicia Hersey at ahersey@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 142 prior to the meeting. Thank you for letting me get through that. I also want to say up front, I appreciate you all being open to meeting this evening. We got kiboshed by the Zoning Board of Appeals wanting to do the Ayer Commons meetings on Wednesday night. So I kind of felt that was important enough to move us around a little bit. So I appreciate y'all being flexible this month. Next month, we'll hopefully go back to our regular meeting time. With that said, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Thank you, Pat.
Seconded.
Thank you, Sean. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote by Hollywood Squares, which puts you first, Cindy.
Aye.
Thank you, Sean.
Aye.
Colleen
Aye.
and Pat,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. Fantastic. So our first order of business is to approve the agenda. We've done that. And approve the meeting minutes for 12/14/22. May we have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Pat. We have a second.
Seconded.
Thank you for seconding, Sean. Any discussion on the minutes? Thank you very much, Cindy, for getting them out to us as quickly as you did. Okay, again, Hollywood Squares. Cindy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Colleen?
Aye.
And Pat?
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Next on the list is the Ayer Commons update. And I'd like to pass the torch to Miss Hersey for this one to kick us off.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I came home, I had it all packed up and I didn't have my agenda with me, so I'm just trying to pull it up on my my website here.
It's okay, Alicia. You're everything on the agenda tonight, so don't worry.
Oh, great.
No, but seriously.
So, okay, and now I can't see you guys. That's all I'm trying to do is get it so I can see you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Oh, and James just joined us. Good evening, James.
Why am I not seeing you guys? Okay, so we had a very interesting meeting and I have to say thank you to the planning board members, Jonathan, Jeff, and Ken Diskin for coming to that last meeting of the ZBA on the 11th of this month of January. So what they were trying to do was finish going over the decision, which had been drafted by our consultant, Paul Haverty. And it was a long meeting, as Jeff will affirm with me, of that board. And we hammered out a number of different things, including the applicant was asking for relief from permitting and hookup fees for water and sewer. And the town was asking for sidewalks to in front of Anderson Funeral and a crosswalk over to the grocery store. And Jeff, did you want to say anything about this? We really had a long discussion about it, and Jonathan spoke up and explained how important it was for affordable housing to be built in town. And they ended up, I don't know the actual numbers off the top of my head. I left my whole packet at work by mistake, but they ended up approving this and giving 40% off hookup fees for the water and sewer, and a flat rate building permit fee, though there will be also, there still are the fees for the inspections of the electrical, plumbing, and building.
Mhm. So thank you. Yeah, no, that's great. So Alicia's talking about the ZBA meeting, the first meeting of the month on the 11th. The meeting went almost 3 hours or 3+ hours. And if you ever want to see a public meeting actually get something done, it's a fantastic tour de force of a negotiation that happened between people that were on the call and people who were called into the call to get it done. At one point, Carly had to reach out to Charlie Schultz to discuss permitting fees. It goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Alicia worked very hard with the parties on both sides on the week before to bring it all together. And the Zoning Board of Appeals did approve a comprehensive permit, which is the next great step in moving forward towards Ayer Commons becoming a reality. Some of the things Alicia just mentioned are probably not going to get done this round. One of them is safer sidewalk access between the project and the supermarket across the street, mostly because it's a state road, and getting involved with the state road may have an opportunity, may kind of throw sand in the gears, if you will. So that was let go. There was a long, lengthy discussion about fee structures. They were looking for a little more forbearance from the town. I think the town did a great job on holding to their negotiation. And so it's believed that we will get the fees we need from the project at this point that will allow it to hook up to our sewer and water, and will give money to our sewer and water enterprise funds for future upkeep and maintenance on our sewer and water infrastructure. And they also negotiated the permitting fees, where they worked hard with Charlie at building and came up with a fee that would work for the property, that would get us paid what we need in order to have it done. And Charlie did not give away any of the store. We bring in outside plumbing and electrical expertise for permits, and that stayed true. So Charlie, basically the town did grant them kind of a base fee for permitting, a break on the permitting fee. Charlie feels that's going to be perfectly sufficient to handle the cost for his organization, for the town side of it, but we did not grant any waivers on the fees of the expenses we pay to other groups. So that's where we stand. At one point, the meeting actually stopped because the NOAA needed to actually go away and talk amongst themselves to come up with the solution. It was a long meeting. It was a good meeting. We got there. So we're at the next juncture with Ayer Commons. At this point now, I think NOAA had, Alicia, are you aware that NOAA, they made their application to the state already?
Yes, it went to the state to begin with, because that's where it starts. Then it gets to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's back in the state's preview, but they also need to get their financing, and they needed to get through the ZBA to get their financing. So they should be getting their PNS runs out sometime in April, and that's why they were really pressured to get this ZBA process done, because they can't get their financing without having the ZBA process done. So that happened. I do just want to mention one thing that I kept mentioning for multiple meetings, and the whole crosswalk and sidewalk. I've been looking into possibly going to the Housing Choice Grant Program to get money to design that. And if we work with Housing Choice, hopefully we can actually also get first design money and then the money to build it. So that process is coming up in the next couple of months too. That's why everybody was always worried about that. And it's not that much money. And if we do get a engineer in there to do some of the work, they'll also help us contact the state Mass DOT and maybe work with us to work with them.
Yeah, there's still a missing, there's kind of a missing piece on that, and that is across the street at the supermarket. The crosswalk will go across. If we get a sidewalk down and a crosswalk across the street, it'll not attach to anything because the Shop and Save did not have a complete sidewalk all the way across their property when they redesigned it in order to maintain DOT compliance. We did ask the DiGeronimos who own the Shop and Save and Hannaford's if they would consider it. They did not give us I want to tell you, they didn't flat out say no.
Oh, good.
So at a meeting, and Mr. DiGeronimo asked the question. Everything was already approved. They were there to do some details, and Ayer Commons has come since then. So I said to Mr. DiGeronimo, I would hope that with 102 units possibly going in across the street from you, up the street a little bit, maybe you'll consider completing the sidewalk in front of your property. I think he's typically in a very adversarial meetings in other communities. And I think he was surprised by the ask. He was not willing to hear it in the beginning. He was there with, I think it's his daughter who also works for the company. And they had a quick conversation amongst themselves. We don't know what they're going to do, but we would hope, and we'll reach back out. Now that we're farther along and the comprehensive permit's been done, I'm going to speak to Jonathan about possibly reaching back out through the planning department to see if they'll reconsider that. It would require them to move a retention basin back away from the street a little bit, at least to give it green space to walk on. So it would be great if we can get that done. But it's one of those things where you kind of don't even know what the puzzle looks like, and you got these pieces, and now the puzzle's starting to come together, and you got to figure out where the pieces are going to come from. And Shop and Save is wary of going back to the DOT because that's what's held up the project over there for this time. They got an approval 4 years ago, and they keep hearing back from Mass DOT that they have to be compliant, and it's really been a problem for them. So we'll see what happens with that. Otherwise, any other questions on the Ayer Commons or any other observations? Yeah, Cindy.
Who will be reaching back out to the Geronimo family? Is it the planning board?
Through the planning board, I'm gonna speak to Jonathan about that, and it'll be. I can't imagine Jonathan wouldn't be amenable to it, and I'll let you know afterwards who does it. But the PB planning board, yeah.
No, planning board.
Yeah. So that's that kind of tightens up the Ayer Commons update where we are right now. Any questions or any comments from anybody about this? A lot of call. Okay. Thank you. Ayer rental assistance guidelines update and acceptance is the next agenda item. I think you probably all know that it's been updated and it's been sent out.
We got that out, and I've been contacting the people that are currently, the 5 families that are currently have assistance from us so that they can update their. And I had taken a list of people. I've sent out information to many of them. It's posted on the website. There was a little snafu on it getting on to the announcements. But it's now on the announcements. And since it hit the announcements just 2 days ago, I've gotten 2 applications and a lot of phone calls. So
fantastic.
So, and the next thing I'm going to do is go out and put flyers. I mean, not a flyer, kind of a poster in the library and maybe the post office, just for places where people just walk in and might see it.
A question, yeah. Chair. Will you refresh my mind where these funds are coming from that I forgot, we talked about it, where this $5,000 per family, that's coming from what source?
So James, I appreciate you asking, because I was actually thinking we'd be putting together another request today. And then I remembered that's for the end of the year. So these are funds that we went to CPC with in the fall town meeting of last year. And the original ask, the first year out, was $30,000. which is 5 families for $6,000 a piece. And we increased that ask, if my memory serves me correctly, to CPC to double it. And town meeting accepted that. So we could go with more people should we get them.
All right, I mean to cut you off. Thank you.
No.
I was at the Capital Funds Committee, and one of the members was talking about it. And I kind of thought of CPC, but I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't say where it was coming from. But I did explain to him a little about the process, what we planning on doing. So, you want to be able to give out the information. So if anybody have questions, you want them to know about it, because it's town money. Any way you look at it, it's town money. So.
Yep,
Thank you.
exactly. And the big difference between CPC is, well, I'm not going to go into the details, but Colleen's got her hand up. So Colleen, you got something?
No, I heard you say, oh, we don't need to talk about the next round of funding soon, but I think we actually do, because I think we need to go to Springtown meeting, which means we need to go to CPC. They need to hold a public hearing in March, which means we need to go to CPC in February. So we should probably talk about it today. Sorry, I didn't think about that when I looked at the agenda, that maybe should get added to our agenda.
Yeah. No, I had that. You ever had that wake up in the morning and a sinking feeling you didn't do something? I had that this morning exactly for that reason, Colleen. And then I thought, we did this fall town meeting in the past. And in order to get something on the warrant for the town meeting and into the CPC, it may have to happen sooner. So that comes underneath the update and acceptance. Excuse me for a moment.
Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, it's Pat. I don't know how to raise my hand on this phone thing.
Don't just speak up, Pat. Don't go by that. Yeah.
I'm kind of shy. Quick question, Alicia, what are the chances of getting that on the screen at the firehouse, that, it's application time if you need assistance?
Let me talk to Cindy about that. That's a good idea, Pat.
I'm just thinking that it's right there, so maybe we could take advantage of it a little bit, even if it's just for, a few days or something.
Yeah, great idea.
Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a great thought, Pat. And the hardest part about it is designing it, Alicia.
Yes.
It's very easy to get stuff up there.
I didn't know if we had that opportunity.
Yep, that's great. So to cycle back to Colleen's point, I don't disagree with you. It would be nice to get the funding in order. If I remember correctly, our conversation last time went, we'd like to be able to offer more assistance. So we went from 30 to 60 in our request. We are not going to have the numbers in hand, I'll bet, to know if we want to increase it or not. But I'd like to stay with at least the 60. That's my gut feel. I don't know how the rest of the members
I would like
trust
to
feel.
and so this isn't, sorry.
Go ahead, Alicia, please.
Through the chair, you guys can decide whatever you want. I'd like to keep it for a full year at 60 and just see where we're at.
I agree.
If you do the math, one of the things that that was a big discussion, I'm not going to say argument, but discussion at the ZBA on the affordable housing that we're talking about. This is subsidized affordable housing. 16 or 18 units are actually subsidized. All of it is lower rental costs and qualified only for low income and different levels of low income. At $60,000 a year, this is money we're sending to private landlords. And we'd almost be better taking the money and building real affordable, subsidized affordable housing than just handing it. I mean, yes, I think we need this program, but I don't think we need it to be the program. I think we need to spread the money out. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, Colleen.
So I guess that I was going to raise something similar, Alicia, which is, do we think about a slightly bigger ask, but only keeping 60,000 towards the affordable, the rental assistance program, but to start to build the trust for other projects. Like I think we've talked about that before, whether there are additional, if we want to start to build a second fund for other affordable housing projects. And I don't know if now is the right time or if we stick with 60,000 for affordable housing to fall town meeting, and then we go back in the fall with a different ask. Maybe Air Commons is going to need more money and we're going to have to think about other things. So I don't know what I think is the right solution, but I agree. I don't know that we need to go bigger than 10 at this point for the rental assistance, but do we want more included in the ask than just that, or are we not ready for that?
Yeah, Sean, you got it in hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think part of me is like, yes, ask for more for sure. But I do think, at least for the time being, if we're just asking for the 10 and giving ourselves at least until fall to kind of get the rental assistance like kind of situated a little bit, and then perhaps come up with a plan of what other programs we'd want, and we'd have a better presentation of what that ask would look like. That would just be my thought on it.
I appreciate it. Yes, James.
Yeah, I agree with Sean. I think we should stick with what we have, try to get a success out of that, and then we can always ask for money. But sometimes when you ask for too much, you're the crying kid on the block and you get nothing. So I would like us to work what we have with the 6 to try to be successful and let the people know what we are doing.
I appreciate that comment, and Sean also, and Colleen too. I guess the way I was looking at it is I kind of think things in, I'm sorry, Alicia, in a moment. I kind of think of things in statistics and relationships. We asked for 30 grand, about 95 people were impacted over in Devon's Crest. We asked to double that. We did not know at the time, roughly the same number of units are impacted over at the Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
So did we get lucky? I don't know. We'll see what happens with applications to Alicia this year. Are we funding it, unfunding, overfunding, or underfunding it? I don't know. That's number one. The other thing is rental assistance is seen as an emergency stopgap measure.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short term, a couple 3 years measure. Building costs being what they are these days, I think the ask to start building is probably, acquiring property and building is a much different animal. And I think we need to kind of look at that. And I hate to use the word soberly, and maybe come forward, as Sean said, at a later time or something like that. Hand in glove with that is, I know the planning board, when we talk amongst ourselves and in informal parts of the meeting, we're looking at, payments in lieu. If somebody's building houses somewhere, we get trying to build in an affordable housing piece to that. There's other pieces we can do. So that hopefully there'll be other ways we can get funds coming into the town for actually building brick and mortar affordable housing. But I mean, right now, these days, acquiring land's not inexpensive, as Pat will tell you what's going on in town with land. And then we got to build it. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was a very small child, my father was chairman of a building committee for a high school. And I think he spent 17 months doing something else besides his job. He was just that busy. And not that I don't want to take that on, and it wouldn't be a wonderful thing for the town, but I think we kind of need to look at it from a more sober aspect, because I think that the request for money is going to jump from tens of thousands of dollars up to tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, yeah, Sean.
I do think also, and I think I've said it before in this, I would eventually like to see us get to a point where we could also offer mortgage assistance. So we're not just focused on renters, but we're also focused on people who are at risk of losing their homes because of not being able to afford their mortgage. So maybe that's one of those programs that we look at for the fall for additional funding.
Yeah, I'm jotting that down. I'm sorry, Alicia, you had your hand up before and I looked away.
So, no, that's fine. I just wanted to go over the budgeting thing because what happened was we asked for 30. We took almost a year to put the program together. And then we asked for another 30 halfway through the last year's program. So this, if we ask for 60 in the spring, that will cover, will be 30 ahead, because we're now running the two programs simultaneously, okay? So we can do one of two things. We can ask for 90 and then we'll have 2 years in the bank, this coming year and the year after, or we can ask for 60. We need 60 to cover everything. We've got 30 for one side of it, 5 of them, and we'll need another 30, but we don't want to have this split thing. They're now running concurrently, and we want to be able to run them concurrently. So we need to ask for at least 60 this spring. Now, if you want to start building, what Colleen was suggesting is we have money in conservation for acquisition for conservation land. One of the things that if you want to start asking for money to go into the trust, funds, then you can, then when somebody like NOAA comes, they don't have to go through the process of going to town meeting. If we have 400,000 there, you guys would be the ones deciding, yes, we're going to support NOAA. Okay. Or if a piece of land came available that we think would be perfect for affordable housing, and you had $500,000 in the trust funds, then you could purchase that piece of land and put it out with an RFP to have housing developed on it. Affordable housing, nonprofit affordable housing developed on it. And so Colleen was suggesting that you consider starting to transfer some of the CPC money over into the trust account so that you have some flexibility.
Mhm. Thank you. That's much clearer. And I have another question along those lines. There are multifamily homes in this town that come on the market in the $300,000 to $500,000 range.
So can I explain something on this?
Yes.
Now, a number of towns have chosen to do it this way. If you're going to do something like that, you need a nonprofit, not a town organized affordable housing trust. The town does not want to own real estate, particularly rental real estate. So, and some towns have their trusts not under the guise of the town. They're a total nonprofit. And that is a possibility too. But what happens when you're doing CPC money, people get kind of nervous when it's not being controlled by the town. So that's another discussion for you guys all to have. What do you see the vision of this? And one of the ways that you could be a town organization is you can purchase property and then put it out on an RFP. And you write that RFP so that it's a nonprofit, and you tell them exactly, you want tiny homes, you write the RFP. So you're going to get a nonprofit tiny home builder. You want apartments, you write the RFP. So you get a nonprofit, apartment complex for affordable. So that's the one thing you can do if you've got that money, but then you don't have to always go to town meeting for the CPC money.
Thank you. Colleen, you want to?
I guess I've been now hearing what everybody's saying and thinking and wondering if we should, or, at the next CPC meeting, ask them about 60 versus 90, looking ahead to what Alicia was just saying, if we have some in the bank and don't have to go back to them for 2 years. And then as a committee, spend the next 6 months thinking about that bigger ask when we might not be going for rental assistance, sort of think more strategically about when to go for the different amounts and see what they would think about us asking for a little more this year, still towards rental assistance, so that we would have 2 years ahead to then really evaluate the program to come back and say, okay, what are our needs 2 years from now?
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. Sean?
Do you know, Colleen, do you know what is in basically the account of available funds for housing projects from CPC?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I don't know the exact amount. I know that we just obviously approved the big ask from NOAA for Air Commons, but I think there is still a decent amount of money in the affordable housing pot. So it's there and available. And I think if we're strategic in, really thinking about what the best uses are for that and how we want to use it, there's money there for projects, but I don't know off the top of my head what the amount is.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I know there's going to be some, I know it's a different pot, but as from the other night's meeting, there's going to be a big ask probably for Peroni Park. Yeah, it's like this time around. And I know it's different pots of money, but just kind of being, and I know I suggested like presenting more evidence before asking for more, but I could definitely get behind this proposal of asking for more too. I'm not completely bent on just asking for the 60. So
Yeah, I'm going to sum this up if I can. And I'm going to sum it up with a question I jotted down while we were talking. And what is the long-term vision of acquiring big and affordable housing here in town? I mean, we didn't even exist 18 months ago. And now we're thinking about how we can do stuff, which is actually fantastic if you think about it, guys. I mean, so if I was going to read the tea leaves, I'd say we have to make a decision about a $60,000 or a $90,000 ask. The $90,000 would bring the calendar together for a year and a half, I think is what you were trying to saying, Alicia.
But for 2 years, because we've got 30,000 in the bank from last fall.
Exactly.
So it would take us with both groups for 2 years.
If we had 10 people, we could handle all of them for the same period of time.
For 2 years.
Exactly. So I think that's probably not a bad place to be. That way we're not saying to somebody who we've been helping out, they are supposed to move out of the program, but the last thing they need is one more group of people saying, get out. I don't mean to be facetious, guys, but I appreciate everything Alicia you do on a daily basis. You have no idea. So our next meeting would be February the 8th. I think that would be the first. Do we decide first or second Wednesday of the month? That's second Wednesday, the 8th. Yeah.
CPC meets the first Wednesday of the month.
So that'll be February 1st. So for February 8th would be so maybe we should have this thought through by the 8th. Unless someone wants to. I'm
happy to run by our thinking at the February 1st CPC meeting to get a sense of the committee on, do we just stick with the 60 that we've asked for, let them know we're starting the long range planning, but this would have, if we did the 90 ask, and then I can get the numbers on what's available in the account and bring both the sense of the committee and that number to the meeting, and that might help guide our discussion.
That'd be great. And I'll take Alicia and I last time I doctored up the original application and sent it to Alicia. You probably have a copy of the most recent application. So it's changed. It's honestly changed a couple of dates, changed the date and changed the numbers in a couple of places. The description is not going to change. So I have a feeling we can probably pivot on that pretty quickly if we made the decision at the February 8th meeting to increase the amount. Is that okay with folks sitting around the table? I see a lot of nodding heads. Pat. Yep. Yeah. Pat's everyone's nodding their head, Pat. I think you were too. Thank you.
Yeah, I said it sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I'm encouraged that you, I'm glad. What's the right words? I don't want to say encouraged or glad, but it's nice that people are finding out about this. I put it up in the Ayer community on Facebook, only to find out I was the third person to post it in less than a half hour. So the word's getting out.
Yeah.
And Cindy, I know Cindy, you've got your own group of people to post it to too. And you're
Yeah.
shaking your head like I'm sure you're doing that also, which would be great.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it just came out today on the Ayer email list. So
Mhm.
next Monday when I write, I'll probably mention it. I'm always a little hesitant to send it out to everybody when it's only an Ayer thing because we're a multi-community
Mhm.
organization. And I don't like making a really big deal out of stuff that only affects one
Mhm.
town. I think I
That's,
can,
that's understood. And it's going to be an interesting, different task if and when Ayer Commons gets built, because it's not solely Ayer, it's regional. And that to me, that's kind of exciting because as we look to our neighbor communities, they've got a lot of people who could qualify in an Ayer Commons situation. Well, thank you. So, and Sean, I'm interested in mortgage assistance also. I don't know what that entails. So do you have any idea?
No, I think it's going to be some good research.
Well, I do a lot of stuff about mortgages. As a matter of fact, I had to say, excuse me, because I don't know if you all know this, both my sisters are real estate agents. And so they were hitting me up on something right now. So, okay, I'd be interested in doing that too and trying to figure it out.
I think it definitely, and it would present its own set of issues, right? Because now we're like with this, at least we have a landlord that we're making a check payable to. So I don't know, Alicia, do you have any experience with mortgage assistance programs from other towns?
So if I ever had 5 minutes, so the state actually has a number of programs for first-time buyers, some very good programs, but most of them right now are for specific, very low-income communities, their target communities. But there also is first-time buyer programs with CHAPA and with that the state has, and with I think it's CHAPA that has them, not MHP, but I need to get some more research and get that more on my resource sheet, because people can buy with no money down. They can even get some down payment from the state, that sort of thing. Now, originally, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong on this one, originally when we went into COVID, they made the raft money and the emergency housing money available for both rent and mortgage.
I think you're right on that. Yeah.
I don't know if they've changed that now, if it's just back to rent, because if you get behind, you can apply to them. The hard part about the raft money is they want you to actually owe money. So if you're one of those people that's doing everything and not eating so you can pay your rent and your mortgage,
Yes.
you're not eligible. You have to fall behind a couple months and then you're eligible. And that's very hard for some very, proud and people that just want to do whatever they can to stay stay
Yeah.
current. And which is a very respectable and very honorable thing for them to do. But if once you get behind and you apply, then they get you caught up on all your bills, and they often pay a couple months forward for you. And the real question is, we should double check and make sure that's just for rent, or if that's available for mortgage as well.
It'd be a good question, because otherwise, some mortgage programs that people end up in when they're in a first-time buyer situation or might be on the edge of affordability have some pretty draconian late fee structures.
Yes.
So falling behind on a mortgage can be an extraordinarily negative thing for somebody. It's unfortunate that you have to get behind to get help, maybe in those situations. Okay. Well, I think there's a little bit of research, and Sean, I'll do a little bit too along the way, dig in on that and find out about what I can.
Yeah.
So Pat?
Sorry, Jeff, can I jump in 1 second?
Yeah.
I have an amazing resource for mortgage questions, if anybody needs his information. He's actually coming to our office on the 24th to do a Q&A with our agents and whatnot about mortgages. And he's just a wonderful resource. So if you have questions that you're having a hard time with, or programs, I'm happy to share his information with you, and he's always, just terrific about helping and answering questions and whatnot. So let me know if anybody wants that info.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pat. I think that ties up the package Ayer rental assistance guidelines update and acceptance, unless anybody else has anything else they want to add to it. No, thank you. Next on our list is public comment. I don't see anybody from the public. Does anybody want to step out of their role as a member and become a public for a moment? No. And James, I want to say thank you to you. I realized we scheduled this right after the Capital Finance Committee meeting today, but I had to find a spot somewhere. So, and you missed, the reason we had to reschedule is because Zoning Board of Appeals wanted our slot to do the NOAA project. And so I just kind of made the decision that we'd give that up on the Wednesday night. So I appreciate you going from meeting to meeting this evening.
Yes, it's it's so funny. I'm still trying to get over the cost of this Main Street bridge. In September, the cost was 3.5. January, it's 4.5. So it went up $1 million less than 6 months.
You should have made the decision a month ago. No.
It's not that easy.
I know that, James. I know.
And trying to find a bridge that size on West Main Street, I just don't understand how they calculate costs.
It's a critical link in our, it's the bridges on both West Main Street and East Main, or Main Street, East Main Street. They make a huge difference. Unfortunately, you get a lot of truck traffic because of it. But otherwise, you're stuck behind a 4-mile train coming from my neighborhood. And that's unbearable. Just kidding. Okay. New and old business is next on the list. Anybody have anything new? We just did a lot of new stuff around the assistance. Any old business questions? Comments? With that, I'd like to suggest that we continue to do Zoom if we can on February 8th. And I picked 6:15 because that seems to be the normal time for me, because I used to have to commute back to town for stuff. Does anybody care 6:15, 6 o'clock? How will that work for you all?
Having that extra 15 minutes helps.
Yep, definitely.
But back on Wednesdays, right?
Yes. Yeah, Colleen, definitely on Wednesdays. It's just, poor Alicia, she calls me on the phone one day. I tell her, don't worry, just call me. She sends me an email. I call her right away. And she's like, well, and it's like, Alicia, because here she is borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. She wants us to get our job done, but she wants us to do it at another time. So anyway, Alicia, can I make the request that you talk to Carly in the morning?
Yep.
Or agenda, and if you want, I can get you an agenda right after this meeting if you want. It's pretty
And
much the
we'll
same.
post it. We've been
Yeah.
trying to get it posted earlier and earlier because it doesn't show up in the calendar until we post it.
Exactly. So with that, anybody have any other comments they want to add to the pile at this point?
No, I just have a quick question for you, Jeff. Did an email go out after the doodle poll about tonight's meeting? Because I didn't get anything until I happened to look like 10 minutes ago and saw Alicia's email from last night. So I'm not sure if I got left off an email or if that was really our next, because we had done the doodle poll about a couple of days.
Yeah. So
I didn't get an email. So just check your distribution list.
Colleen, I lost my mom in the last 2 weeks, about 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
and I'm sorry. So I have not been on my game.
No,
and I don't mean to put that out there. It's just, I got to tell you, I went to Belmont to do something in my hometown, and I parked in a secret spot to get into the town hall to do something. I couldn't get 2 people away from my car. It took me an hour. So in many ways, it's a blessing being out here. But that's the phone call. I've been jammed up with a bunch of stuff. You're absolutely correct. And I honestly feel worse about that than some other things I missed this last few weeks. But yes, I did not respond. I did. I'm sorry, Cindy?
I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed something because I've been a little crazy. So no need to apologize. And I'm sorry for what you've been going through. And like I said, I knew it was a possibility, so I kept checking. So it was all good.
No, go ahead. And by all means, call me, send an email. Because what it'll do is you'll trigger a reminder. I mean, guys, I do work for a company and we have to do our tax returns for last year. I forgot to put the name of the company on the form. It's been topsy-turvy, but I apologize for that. I've just not been on my game. So, and with that said, I'll do better, I promise. And I was just thinking, I want what's his name back. I want Jake back.
Oh, Jake.
Huh? No, I want Jake back safe. Honestly,
Yes.
that's the most important
Yes.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, and if you don't mind, James, did you guys spend a lot of money at the capital budget tonight?
Yeah, we did, and I don't even want to think about it. I have a headache already, and we didn't finish yet. It's just unbelievable.
Well, thank you for doing that, sir. I sat in that meeting a few weeks ago. I came in last meeting, but I decided not to stay. I ran into Mr. Von Skalk. That's all I needed to talk to. So, okay.
Did Alicia have something she wanted to say? Alicia was waving her hand.
No, I just was surprised that Colleen, so we got this posted on Friday, but once I got a confirmation that it was posted on Tuesday morning, I got the email out, but you didn't see that one, Colleen?
I didn't.
I
I
got
thought it didn't come into my inbox till last night, but I started back to teaching this week, so I just may have been insane.
No, I didn't see it either.
So my brain is also
didn't
not
see it
fully
either?
on its game right
No.
now, so it's
So-
all good. I wanted to make sure it hadn't gone out like a week ago that I missed somehow, so.
No, I got to be honest with you, Alicia. In order to get to the meeting tonight, I had to print the agenda and get the number off of that. Because Colleen, usually I pick up on it as soon as it gets posted. I send it on through. I've been going between Deerfield and Cambridge day in and day out. So
I sent a meeting link with the link to this, with the agenda, and we haven't actually approved the minutes. We need to approve the minutes.
oh yeah, thank you.
And
I never
on
got-
Tuesday, first thing, and what I'm concerned about, I knew that James wasn't always getting them, and so, but you guys didn't get it till today.
I got mine yesterday on the 18th. The reminder came in.
Right, but not a link for any of the paperwork.
The
No, it-
link wasn't on it?
I did get the link for the minutes and the agenda at the bottom of it with the link for the meeting.
All right, I lied. It is there, but I didn't get it till yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't get it till yesterday. I mean, I didn't see it till today because I didn't have time yesterday to check my Ayer email, but it came in at some point during the day yesterday.
Well, I'm sorry, because I've been trying to get those out faster, but, and I ended up posting some, well, we had a holiday, so, I thought it went out Tuesday, but anyway, I'll double check my stuff too.
Yep.
Worry about it. It all worked out.
It all worked out.
Yep.
It all worked out well. I
We're
just,
here.
No.
checking in to make sure I wasn't the one, that I had.
But if people aren't getting their emails from me, because I know that I have 2 emails for James, and I've been trying very hard to send his to his Ayer town hall email.
Right, that's where I received this one, thanks.
Okay, because
Yeah.
sometimes it just pops up, and I know that I was having that trouble with Cindy too. So I'm trying to refine this list, and I do want you guys to let me know if you're not receiving things, because I'm trying to make sure we have the right list and it's going to the people and everybody's getting it. So thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Take a motion to adjourn.
No, minutes.
I'm sorry. We
Minutes.
did the minutes, didn't we?
I thought we
Yeah, I thought we
approved the
did.
minutes.
Oh,
We
I'm
voted on the
sorry.
minutes right after the
Sorry.
agenda in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
And I thanked Cindy for getting them to us.
I move we adjourn.
And I will second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye. Have a great
Aye.
evening, all. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
all. See
Thank
in
you. Good night.
February.
Good night now.